New report. Same old politics complicates the financial bailout. The threat of economic collapse forces the Democrats to work fast with the GOP. Hopefully. Democrats began the week with a you break it, you buy it approach to the financial crisis. Its president, George W. Bush. That's still a four-letter bad word. It's his fault. Let him fix it, they say. But disarray approached a meltdown and possible collapse of the entire U.S. economy. Only then did the Democrats, who control Congress, and presidential candidate Barack Obama pledge to work with Republicans on a bailout that the administration estimates at least at $700 billion more dollars, on top of the billions that they've already spent on bailouts, on top of the $500 billion deficit for the year. Well, you're talking about trillions of more dollars to add to the national debt or put on the national credit card. Who's going to pay for it? When are they going to pay for it? How much is the interest? No, it's not going to get paid, is it? Doesn't look like it. Anyway, they also are seeking help for the unemployed and people who are at risk of losing their homes. The president is admonishing them that the cleaner the better, whatever that means, for legislation he hopes Congress approves in the weeks ahead. The rapid turnabout reflects the political crosscurrents as both parties and their White House nominees confront the most serious threat to Americans' standard of living since the Great Depression. Or the collapse is coming. Why? Well, it's who that president be. Yes, the last 8 years almost, he's really tore up this country. And he is the worst president there's ever been, and probably ever will be. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat from California, was an outraged spectator Wednesday when she said about the administration, "This is their problem. They've created this mess. So, this is their solution." But a little more than 24 hours later, she was a very grim-faced team player. "We hope to move very quickly. Time is of the essence." The Republican Party, too, shifted its stand. The Republican minority leader from Ohio began the week talking against any more taxpayer-financed bailouts, a sentiment the Republican presidential nominee McCain seemed to share, and ended it promising to work with Democrats on just such a plan. The financial crisis has moved so quickly that it has outpaced lawmakers' ability to keep on top of developments, much less develop a coherent strategy or message. Serious frustration among Democrats. For Democrats, it is a chance to highlight what they characterize as hands-off policies by the present president, and the Republicans that favor the wealthy. Yet, the seriousness of the crisis demands swift action for which Democrats, as leaders of Congress, will also bear a hefty share of responsibility. Still, who's that president that we still have? They do not relish being seen as complicit in a Wall Street rescue when voters are feeling an acute economic pinch. There's a lot of frustration among Democrats who view this catastrophe as a logical consequence of a philosophy of deregulation, said William A. Galston, a domestic policy advisor in the Clinton White House. At the same time, though, does anybody really want to go down in history as part of the sand in the machinery that helped bring about the repeat of 1929, the Great Depression. Again? Or could it be even worse than that? Yes, it could be. Representative Barney Frank, chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, said Democrats cannot duck the issue after spending 8 years hammering the president for making end runs around Congress. There have been people on my side complaining about executive overreaching. Too much power for the executive branch. Well, that part's true. They've allowed this to happen. Not only the president, who is the worst president there's ever been. That's what he's going to go down in history as. Well, the Congress has dropped the ball too. The leaders of the United States have dropped the ball. You know what that means. They haven't done what they're supposed to do in quite a while, have they? And they say, oh, nobody can attack us. Democratic leaders quickly backed away from the idea and said it would be months before Congress was ready to take such action. Pelosi resorted to hearings to investigate whether fraud played a part in the financial collapse. Well, how about fraud? How about corruption? How about greediness and covetousness? And what Congress might do about it in the future. She said the rescue of Hysteria, AIG, was outrageous. There was a reluctance for us to announce the first big government proposal. Representative Brad Sherman, a Democrat from California, said before the actual size of the administration's plan became clear. But now, nobody can attack us for being big government spenders. He said he and many colleagues worry that the top Democrats are being stampeded into accepting what the president and Wall Street want. Leadership has to worry that the press will vilify Democrats for not immediately rubber stamping this urgent proposal, he said. But look what the Democrats have already done. They've already rubber stamped all kinds of things, like the immoral war in Iraq and Afghanistan. And yes, there's really no winning there. What is there to win? And when will they win? Anyway, more rubber stamping. No, there's supposed to be checks and balances. Where are the checks and balances? Congress, they have not done their job. They've all dropped the ball. The challenge is acute, too. It is serious also for the Republicans. Supposedly, theoretically, they are philosophically opposed to government intervention in the market. Yes, they're going against their own philosophy. That's not capitalism. That's communism. Nationalizing everything. They are yet acutely aware that economic woes could cost their party dearly in November's elections. That could be true. We shall see. It's precisely at moments like this that the momentum is there for further growth in government, and they're very fearful of that. They don't want to be co-opted, whatever that means. Anyway, yes, the economy, the American economy, is in very serious trouble. There could be a collapse on the horizon because the leaders of our land, well, they're wrong. They're not right. They're bad. And they have made the wrong decisions, or they just haven't made the right decisions. They are to blame for this mess, this coming catastrophe. And there will be more to come, and these are more signs of the end times, transition days, and there are many, many signs.